Why is eliminating noise the most underrated superpower in modern life? That's what we're going to talk about today. Hi, this is Jill from the Northwoods, talking about topics one small step at a time. We live in a world filled with noise. I mean, it's not just the traffic and the leaf blowers, but it's filled with things that are just eating our brains, eat our hours away, and it leaves us wondering, what have I been doing all day? It's about me doing things that are not truly meaningful. And how can we get back to that? David Allen, who wrote the book Getting Things Done, the big GTD, you'll see that in some places. He says that you can do anything, but you can't do everything. And that's the paradox of productivity, that every yes we give to something, we create 10 quiet no's. And I have a friend of mine, and we're both in the same bucket. We love to say yes to everybody and everything. And then we wonder why we don't have time to actually get done the thing that we're trying to do. And I talked to her about this. I said, dude, you have to say no, because you are actually saying no to 10 things when you say yes to something. So I want you to come out, and I start doing this for myself. This is how I got myself out of the situation. That when I say yes to something, what am I saying no to? If you said, I'll give you an example. So I host my own web service. I host my own podcast. Right now, I'm looking to rehost my podcast in something more simple. So I don't spend a lot of my weekends being a server administrator. Because when I say yes to being a server administrator, which I'm capable of being, I am saying no to making my podcast better, finding better thumbnails, figuring out how I can write better, more in-depth podcasts, how I can make my podcast empire more simple. There's a million things. Saying no to my friends who may need my help because I'm now sitting at home working on the server. I remember once I took a day off to get caught up in my life because I was just sort of behind in general. And then I had a denial of service attack on my host, my website, and it took down every single one of my blogs and my podcasts. And I spent my entire day off trying to put them back up again and stop this denial of service attack. I don't know why anyone would attack my websites. I don't know. It's not like I say anything controversial, but someone was trying to take, I think people just do it because it's a bot and they go after any site that they can do. So when I say yes to being a server administrator and my own host, I'm saying no to a million things. Imagine, you're on a highway and you're deciding that you want to drive west to LA, right? You get on the highway, you're halfway there, and you change your mind. No, I want to go to New York. Or maybe I want to go to Fargo, go north to Fargo. And if anyone saw you driving back and forth and up and down, they would assume something was seriously wrong with you. They would wonder, why is it that she keeps going in this direction and that direction and the other direction? And that's how most of us live our lives. We speed in every direction, full of energy, no clear destination. And then when we're exhausted and we're burned out and we're tired and we're out of gas in our tank, then we wonder why we never even got anywhere. The solution is not more driving. The solution is choosing a direction and going in that direction and ignoring the noise that is telling you to go every other way. So let's talk about noise. Let's talk about what kind of noise do we have in our lives. First of all, there's physical noise, obviously, right? Not just the noise that's honking out there in the street or the snow blower or, the leaf blower, all those things. But it's also clutter and mess and too much stuff that we have in our house and unfinished projects and too many things on our calendar that I physically need to do. I'm not physically, but you can get the idea that we are physically full of noise, okay? Then there's digital noise, notifications, endless scrolling, 47 tabs opened up on our browser, tasks that we have to do, apps I might have to keep up with. And we're trying to do all of that too. Then there's mental noise. That's going to come inside of you. Worries, replayed conversation. The voice says that you should be doing more. You should be paying attention to this. And, Oh, pay attention to your family, not your work. Oh, I need to pay attention to my work, not my podcast. And your brain gets overwhelmed. And then there's relationship noise. And those are going to be people, good and bad, right? Who are also putting pressure on us to take priority. If there are kids, if they're our spouse, our loved ones, our friends, our family, they are going to put pressure on us, but they also need us to give them attention and to give them focus because they are important. But there are other relationships out there that maybe aren't so important. And none of these things are evil. All of these things can be really good things for us. And if we put attention towards any one of these things, they could be rewarding in our lifetime. But we only have so many hours, so many physical resources, so many mental resources to give attention, and we have to limit what those things are. There was a really great book called Essentialism by Greg McKeown. And in this book, Essentialism, which is just amazing book, he says that you have to prioritize your life, because if you don't, someone else is going to. If you just sort of say, I'm a leaf on a wind, which is what I used to be. In my 20s, I just did everything, any moment I wanted to do, and I had no destination in mind. Oh, today I'm going to help my friend, and tomorrow I'm going to help my family, and and the next day I'm going to go and sit and play video games. And I was all over the place, and you know what? Nothing ever got done. Essentialism is not about going off the grid and throwing your phone in the garbage and pretending that email doesn't exist. It's instead about living by design, not by default. It's editing your life so that you can add to your life, not subtract from it. And he says for all of us to move away from the I have tos to the I choose to. The simple shift in your brain rewires you away from guilt and more towards intention. So you can try this exercise. You're going to write down everything you're responsible for. Every project, every committee, every task, every goal. And, you can, if you decide to, you don't have to put down, maybe every work thing. You just say, I'm responsible for 9 hours of work every day, 5 days a week, or whatever it is that you have to do. And then start being brutally honest and crossing off the ones that don't move a needle. They don't make your life better. They don't make your family's lives better. They don't make your friends' lives better. Everything that's important to you right now, I'm focusing a lot of energy on my health, losing weight, getting fit. That one was the thing I need to do in order to move my needle. And the power isn't in the first few things that you wrote down. It's instead in everything you delete. When you find all those things that you deleted from your life, that's when your power comes into focus. And so the idea is that you could do something that is called the 3-list declutter. This is a method of combining everything into small steps thinking. Have you ever heard of the Pareto principle? And that sort of means that the most benefit in your life are going to be gained. 80% of your benefits are going to be gained by 20% of your tasks. These are going to be your must-dos. Then you're going to look at the nice-to-haves. And those that they might not change. They might not have as big of an impact, but wouldn't it be nice if I did it? And then there's noise. That's everything else, the clutter that steals your bandwidth. And when I think about this, obviously my family, my friends, my own health, my faith, and those actions, that's the 20%. The nice-to-haves are certainly my podcasts, my work with people around me, helping people out. That might not be the main focus of my things, but, helping out where I can and doing other types of tasks. That might be the nice-to-have. And then the noise is going to be all the things I don't have to do. That's really at the point where I decided I don't enjoy gardening. I thought I would. I bought this house thinking that I might enjoy gardening. Turns out I don't. And I got rid of it. I just don't have the time to do it because it is not adding value to me. Now, to you, it might be something else. Or, again, Me being a server administrator so I can host all these websites, and that means taking care of updating it and making sure the databases are optimized and making sure the code has enough cache and making sure that hackers aren't trying to bring down my server or break into my email. Noise, right? If I can get rid of that, why not get rid of that? Because it's keeping me away from the things I really want to do or even the nice to haves. So when you start finding out what your noise is, eliminate it. Eliminate it this week. Don't spend time on that. Unsubscribe, say no, delete it, delegate it to somebody else. In my case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to delegate my web hosting to somebody else. I'm going to find a host that's going to take care of making sure the podcasts get out, making sure that I have a website up and running, getting rid of all the noise. I'm going to delegate that someplace else. And I'm going to start having silence, peace, bandwidth, guardrails in my life where I can go back to doing the things that I really want to do. In this book, Essentialism, there's a metaphor that I really loved. And he says that think about life as backpacking to a campsite. There's beautiful side trails, there's detours, maybe there's a walk over there, but your main job is to reach camp before dark and get your fire started, your tent set up, and dinner cooked. If you start getting distracted by that frog over there and that side trail over here, and look, there's a little river that runs through it, I'm going to sit by the river and watch it for a while, you're going to get to your campsite. It's going to be dark. You won't get your fire started. You won't get dinner cooked. And then you will have a really miserable night. Everything just kind of stops at that point. If you go and turn at every scenic point, every interesting corner, you're going to run out of daylight and it's going to steal your good night. And that's where eliminating noise is about, not missing the beauty around you, but instead reaching your goal with enough light left to enjoy the day, enjoy your view, enjoy your meal. So you need the courage to say no. When I first started working in IT, I said yes to everything, every meeting, every quick question, every volunteer task. I thought I was being helpful. I thought I was being a team player, but what I was doing was robbing myself and my coworkers of me focusing on the projects my boss gave me to do. Learning to say no feels terrifying, or that you're not helpful, or people are going to suffer because you said no. But then I realized I had the whole thing wrong. This is about saying yes to the right things. Yes to the projects my boss gave me. Yes to the projects that are going to be most impactful, the things I really need to do. In a personal side, it's going to be me saying yes to my family and to my friends and to my health and to the creativity that I want to do, maybe even rest. And that's what's important, to say it. So if you're afraid of saying no, try this line out. I would love to help, but which one of my current priorities should I drop in order to make room for this new one? That's how you can work with bosses. And bosses love it when you say that statement. Every week I turn in a status report to my boss and say, these are my priorities. And at times she'll say, I think your priorities should be this instead of that. And she's great at this, cross off a priority and say, this can wait. So instead of at work, like I said, if you say that, say, right now I have a full plate. These are all my priorities. You've given me a new task. What's the one thing I should drop? It turns a chaos into a conversation, and that could even be part of your home life too. If you have certain chores and responsibilities to other people, you have a family unit, and you're responsible for, let's say, mowing the lawn, fixing the garage, getting the car tires rotated, and all these other things, and someone comes to you and says, hey, I need you to build this brand new shed in the backyard. Great. Which one of these other things that I'm working on right now should I either say no to or delegate to somebody else? Maybe I can get someone else to rotate my tires. So the way of all of this is that if you can keep focused, it's fine to have fun, to relax, to play a video game, to have leisure fit inside of the time frame because it's going to keep you enjoying life and recharging your battery. I mentioned in my health podcast that I have an app that measures. So the Apple Watch will measure heart rate variability, and it will look at your heart rate variability. It'll give you scores when it comes to stress, restfulness, and tell you when you're sort of going down a bad path. Most of us don't really need an app in order to do that. We know when we're getting stressed. We know when we're exhausted or we feel numb. We know when we have a project that is just noise. And so if you can get back to the place where you can have fun in life, but still have it in the right proportions, still get the things that you need to get done, you'll get balance in life and your life will feel lighter. What is it you need to get rid of at that point? Now, I'll give an example of this right at this moment. You can see a lot of yarn right behind me. I'm a knitter. I have been so busy in the last few years, I haven't had time to even knit. But I enjoy it. It relaxes me. And so right now, I'm working on re-energizing myself with knitting and getting back to the hat I was knitting 5 years ago. I'm going to get that hat finished for my brother. But it helped me relax, and I can see in my numbers my stress levels are too high. And because it was a way that, 1, I get a hat at the end of it. 2, it was relaxing me. 3, I have all this beautiful yarn to knit with. That is something I'm going to pick back up. Now, Warren Buffett had this 5 goals rule. He would tell people to write down their top 25 goals and then pick the top 5 goals. And then, this is the part that's going to hurt, avoid the other 20. It's not like the other 20 is like, and then maybe once in a while I'll pick from this list of 20 other things that I have. Instead, they're gone. They're dangerous, he says, because they look good, they feel productive, but they spread you thin, and they are keeping you from your top 5 things. Noise isn't just about garbage. It's sometimes gold that is distracting you from the thing that is actual treasure in your life, the thing that is actually going to bring joy to you, to other people. Those other 20 things are dangerous because, like I said, they look good to someone else. They like gardening. Gardening is my best friend M's favorite thing. She loves to garden. It gives her joy in life. But for me, that was way down on the list. And so the garden had to go. I actually literally paid a service to go rip out every garden bed in my backyard because it was just getting collected with weeds, so I didn't have to worry about it anymore. I am literally going to pay someone to host my podcast so I don't have to fuss with it anymore and try to fix this and fix that. Even though technically I'm in IT. Working on servers, it's what I do. But working on this podcast is in my top 5. And knitting is in my top 5. So I'd rather do more of that. I hope that helps. We just live in a time when silence is a feature we turn on our phones. It's a tool that helps us become creative. It helps us focus. But we don't often use it. Whether we turn off our phones, we use blockers so we can't get to certain websites so we don't doom scroll. We turn off notifications. What if I don't find out that latest show that's on Netflix right now? What if I just had peace and quiet? What if I tidied up my area so that I had a very peaceful place, like right back there, to sit there and knit and just enjoy? What if you had a rule that says basically after 7 p.m., you're not going to go to any social media sites and you're just going to enjoy the people around you? You can control your noise. And even though they're arbitrary rules, they're yours. You can make whatever rule it is you want to do. And that's where you'll see a lot of people, too, will have what they call sabbaticals, where they will, and I'm not there yet, but they'll leave the internet for a month so that they can get creative, so they can get with their people around them, so they can raise the signal of the things that are important in their lives and lower the noise. If you can get away, that's, primarily why I go camping. I get away from all the noise. I'm doing it a week at a time, not a month, but some people are getting better at it so they can take a longer period of time. So for you, take that first step in eliminating noise. Unsubscribe to 5 emails that distract you, like an email newsletter. Say no to 1 request in your personal life. Delete 1 app that you waste a lot of time doing that doesn't really serve any of your purposes. Or spend 10 minutes in silence. No music, no scrolling, no internet, no iPad, no iPhone, and just let your brain think for a moment. Notice that when you're in these moments, you'll find creativity and clarity and peace, and that's where you want to live. And then, like I said, we're starting small. You can increase that time to where you get more time, more room to do the things that really matter to you in your life. And Stephen Covey said that the main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. Right. The main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. You need to keep whatever are the most important things in your life, the most important things, and get rid of the rest. Noise is anything that distracts you from the main things. And when you learn to edit your life, to say no, to remove things that are just not serving you anymore, and not just keep adding and adding, that's when you're going to become the creator, the curator of your time. You're going to own your world. The idea is that, this was a quote, it said, "To write is human, but to edit is divine." Because after all, life itself is divine. And when we edit our lives and we put in place what's the most important thing, it'll make our lives so much better. We'll keep walking towards that campsite, and we're going to get that fantastic view. We're going to eat that great meal before we get to dark. So in the end, our lives are there for us to edit. That's what's going to determine, do we get our goals? Do we do the things that we find the most important, where we put our family and our friends and our health and whatever it is that's the most important thing for us to do? When we edit our lives, we are saying yes to the things that are the most important thing. And we are going to exclude the noise, whether the noise looks like gold or the noise looks like chaos. We are going to start having the kinds of lives we want to have. All right, everyone, thanks so much. Appreciate you listening to this. If you have anything to say, you can put it right in the chat channel right there. You can email me at jill@startwithsmallsteps.com. What kinds of things are you editing out of your life? What is important for you to get rid of so that you can put the most important things right in front of you? Thanks so much. Have a great day.